Welcome back to another week of City of Mist, the Reaper Soldiers. I have created a new page for you guys all to enter your notes, and yeah, we kind of left last week on a bit of a interesting situation. So to run through it again, just to kind of get back into the mode of things, you all had visited the house of the Bexleys. You met Hans's parents, Leonard and Christina, and they seemed to be an interesting couple. Leonard was a bit aggressive about how much he thought of his son and how perfect his son was and how much of a golden boy he thinks he is. And Christina was a bit too much of a flirt. Definitely had a thing for the younger male in the group. After consuming a large amount of alcohol, Leonard passed out in Hans's bedroom, giving Mike and William the opportunity to search through his things. They were able to stumble on a few clues, including a stash of opium that had been hidden in a cigar box and put into the back of his wardrobe. They found a matchbox from the coffee shop, the Cocoa Gate, that had the name Dominic on it. They also found that there was a note that had been previously ripped off. They were able to use a little pencil rub to figure out what it said. It mentioned Broadview Garden, 9 a.m. on June the 3rd, which is about a month ago. And it also had an amount of 20,000 underlined a few times. With Leonard passed out, they were able to confront the mother Christina with this information. She then kind of broke down as a mother. She dropped her kind of fake persona and gave some honesty that she may have known that Hans was a bit of an opium addict, that it's really her husband, his father, that refuses to see it. She also admitted that there was about $20,000 of inventory stolen from their home, including some silverware, rare books, and jewelry. She also mentioned that her son had requested money for a party and around that amount. However, they thought it was strange as he was a bit of a recluse, normally staying in his room, and didn't seem to have a lot of friends. So they did decline that, and that is just about when this situation occurred. From there, you all left, went to sleep for the night, woke up in the morning. William went off to work. Mike and Levi went to the coffee shop. Mike arrived early, a little bit, about an hour after it had opened. A few people were coming in to get coffees, teas, drinks, kind of milling about. Levi arrived about half an hour later, and they both approached the counter to see if they could get some information on this Dominic. The barista behind the counter seemed to know Dominic when questioned, and before giving more information, he asked the two of them for the box. Levi, or Mike, one of the two, happened to have the cigar box full of the opium stash on them and decided to supply that, placing it out on the counter, in which the barista kind of panicked, told them to put that away, and pretty much refused to provide them with any more information. They both took a seat to try to get an idea of what they were going to do now when a gentleman approached them, probably about mid-40s, a dark brown thick mustache, wearing a fedora, long jacket, and dressed pretty nice. He placed his badge on the table and informed both Mike and Levi that they were under arrest for drug possession. Of course, these two would not go down that easily, so with a bit of quick movement and pure brute strength, they were able to push their way past the inspector and start to run down the street. The inspector called for backup. Two constables began to chase, along with the inspector behind them. And along the way, Mike very quietly and sneakily was able to sneak the box of opium into the jacket of Levi. Levi was able to use his quickness, his speed, and his knowledge of the streets and the back alleys to duck down an alleyway just out of the sight of everyone else, and is now making his way throughout the rest of downtown and the blue-collar district, kind of away from the scene. Mike noticed something down the road. Something standing higher than the crowd. An individual wearing dark blue. Recognizing it as a mounted constable. Seeing the situation would be dire if he's continued along that way, he stopped in his tracks, turned around, and tackled the inspector, knocking him to the ground with a solid thud. Then scrambled to his feet, made his way through the crowd. And that is where we are as we stand now. So as we zoom into the scene, we see the two constables helping to get the inspector up on his feet. There's a crowd of about 10, 15 people that are separating you and them, surrounding you. There's basically two open spots within the crowd, one where Mike stands and one where the inspector and the constable stand. The mounted constable's making his way, but again, the streets are pretty populated and a lot of people are looking to see what's happening, having to hear the whistles of the constables and the inspector. There's a bit of a commotion, and so we are going to introduce the story tag of concerned crowd into this scene. So Mike, you're up on your feet. You're standing near the wall of another building. The inspector and these two constables are about 25, 30 feet away. You have a crowd forming between you and them and around you. Everyone's trying to keep their distance, but they're intrigued, they're concerned, they're not quite sure what's going on. And it seems that the mounted constable is about another block or two away. That being said, what would you like to do?
I think I'll start forcing my way through the crowd probably towards the pit.
So you're pretty far distance from the pit. It would be a pretty far walk.
Yeah.
So switch back over here. They are on the map for some reason. That's weird.
Battle map.
Let me grab these pieces and put them on the right layer.
Early battle map.
Indeed. Well, since it's kind of a continuation of last week, this battle map still applies. All right.
Late battle map.
These two constables are kind of over here. Mike's up kind of against this wall. What is that there?
If we ever do an Ender's Game roleplay, we should just call it battle map.
All right. So as you are now, you're basically on the edge of the gated community and the blue collar district. The blue collar district obviously has many streets and alleys, and that is where where Levi has kind of ducked down an alley through some drying carpets and rugs, and just kind of made his way on the other side. You probably have the option of either trying to get down the street and duck down another alley before the mounted constable gets back to you. You can try to backtrack towards the coffee shop where there's that square and try to get around that way. Or you can try to go continuing down the street trying to find a different direction. You don't have a ton of options here, but right now
the coffee shop.
Okay. So for the most part, I would say the constables and the inspector probably have a moment where they're going to be busy with themselves. So your main issue is going to be getting out of sight of the mounted constable.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to get going.
Run from the horse.
So with that, I'm going to say this is a go toe-to-toe, basically a mixture of your speed and abilities against his speed and sight. If he's able to see you, basically he's going to be able to catch up to you. So that's basically what he's trying to do. Right now, he's heading towards the scene, so he doesn't know exactly what the commotion is. He probably has a few seconds to be able to recognize that there are two clear individuals standing out here, the inspector and yourself, but you have a moment to kind of get out of there. So with that being said, I think I'm going to actually have you just take the risk. Because it is a crowd, the story tag will be a negative on this roll just because there are more people in your way. But basically the risk is getting to that corner, getting to that square before the mounted constable is going to be able to identify you in the crowd. So what
Now,
tags?
if I was to use the flight tag under my Bastion skill, would the crowd then not be applicable?
That is a good question.
Because I'm thinking because it's like the wall is right there, and if I can make it, that'll cut line of sight and probably be able to get me out of the way.
What do people then see you doing if you take flight? Does it look like you are running along the wall?
Well, as far as the missed sight would be, it would just be this big guy doing basically parkour up the wall.
So almost like you're climbing a ladder on the side of the building that maybe they just can't see the ladder itself, but somehow you get to the roof and that's what they see is you've made it to the roof and you're kind of just running even though you're actually flying away, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I would say that's fine. So you're trying to get up above the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because other than that and bullet time, I don't have anything that would really apply.
Okay. So since those basically, yeah, that would be fine. I'm trying to think, since it was a negative and you're using flight to get out of it, I think they kind of counteract each other. So I think you'd be rolling with a +1. Well, no, you'd have 2. I'll give you 2. Since you kind of have a bit of an open space now from where the crowd is. It's not like people are grabbing onto
I'm
you.
not trying to get through the crowd. I'm just...
So this is going to be the take the risk, which again is the risk is being spotted by the constable.
Okay.
Awesome. So you're up. You basically immediately just bolt up into the air. People see you almost like grabbing onto windowsills and somehow just pulling yourself up the side of this building. You're able to get to the corner. You can look down. You see the coffee shop. You see this square. The square is pretty big. There's 2 fountains in it that are equidistant apart. There's a large statue kind of in the middle. It looks like some kind of war general, and there's 4 statue lions around it. Because it's mid-morning, there's quite a few people here. People going to work, trying to open their shops. Women coming out to begin their shopping day. You have noticed that the constables that probably seem to patrol this park are the 2 that are now helping the inspector. So for the moment, it does seem like the square itself is clear. Past the square on the other edge is where the apartment structures and those lofts kind of begin for the blue collar residential. You can see kind of the rundown area, but also the more compact residential. And it's probably about 200 yards away, something like that, about 2 football fields from where you are now. So as you're there contemplating, Levi, you've run down this alley having to bob and weave and dodge your way past these hanging carpets and laundry and all of that. There's like a homeless guy you have to jump over, but you finally get to the other side of the street, and you're right across the street from the blue-collar residential area. You look around for a moment, and a few people seem to notice you kind of like burst out of the alleyway, but no one seems to stop and actually question you or anything like that. With this moment of freeness, what do you want to do?
What kind of like I guess landmark, so to speak, or by me?
So from you, let me pull up my map real quick. So you can see the square, kind of the edge of it is off to your left-hand side, about 2 blocks down. You can see, again, the apartments and lofts, all the tight residential area kind of straight ahead from you. Down, kind of across the blue-collar residential area, you can see the smoke from where the industrial zone is, but you don't see any kind of cranes or anything like that. You're a bit too far. So right now you're standing on kind of the border of where the many blocks and blocks and blocks of these very cookie-cutter apartment-style buildings are just stacked one on top of each other, and strange kind of... as you know, as you've traveled through here, the streets don't quite make sense. They're a twist, a net, a ball of yarn that is very difficult to manage for those that are not familiar with the area.
Well, I guess is there any threat of me like being chased or getting caught, or have I like just about completely evaded?
At the moment, you're still under suspicion, so any additional actions that might draw attention to you could draw attention, but you don't see anyone looking for you. Again, other than the few random civilians that kind of notice someone run out of the alleyway, no one's calling attention to you. You seem to just be another person in the sea of people.
Well, then I'm gonna do just that and join the sea of people and just kind of try and blend in with the crowd so that I'm not drawing any suspicion of myself.
Okay, perfect. So you start walking. As you begin to walk, you start to notice a thump on your leg to the back, kind of on your right side. Feels like something's kind of solid and just hitting you every time you take a step.
I'm gonna take a step to the side, like in a little clearing where there's not really a crowd of people, and like check it out.
So you reach into your pocket and you feel a solid object in there. It feels like a box. You kind of move around. You feel like it has a little lid on the top. It's kind of like a solid, cardboard kind of box. As you kind of look into your pocket, you can see it's the cigar box.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stuff that back away in my pocket because it's caused nothing but trouble so far, and keep hiding in the crowd.
Okay, perfect. So, Mike, you're here. You're kind of on the edge of the building, overlooking the crowd. You can see that the sea of people seem to be coming from the blue-collar residential in both ways. You see people getting on many of the omnibuses and different carts, probably taking them off to the industrial zone, to the farmland that's not too far north. And then you see a lot of the more wealthy individuals that are either coming from the gated community or going towards downtown, where the bankers and the lawyers and all of that live. You do hear the sound of the hooves kind of clopping behind you, so they're probably within the same block now looking for you, but again, they didn't see you go up to the roof, so for the moment you seem to be in the clear.
I want to take a second and look around to see if the the trash guy that runs this route is running a little bit behind today.
Okay.
Because this would be about the time that he's supposed to be having gotten everything out and be on his way out of this area.
Okay. I'm gonna say this is gonna be a change the game situation. Only reason I'm saying it's not an investigate, it's not really a burning question, and you're not looking for like an answer to a clue, you're more just trying to give yourself an advantage. So for this case, I will also say the concerned crowd, because the sea of people, it might take you a bit more time to actually recognize if he's been through. And what other tags do you think you're going to use?
Garbage collector would committed to the job.
Yeah, I think because you'll be able to recognize, right, if a garbage man has actually been through or not.
And then bullet time to
like really focus.
really focusing on this.
Okay, perfect.
Then change the game.
Awesome. So you will get 2 juice, and you do have the option to use the additional 10 plus effects as well. So with that, you're kind of looking for the garbage man. Is it a preference that he has not come through yet?
Yeah, basically, I'm hoping to just kind of Assassin's Creed style into a hay bale onto his cart from this rooftop is what I'm looking for.
Okay. So I think what we'll do then, we'll create a story tag, which just means, you know, Henry the garbage man. He's now making his way around. And then if you want to, we could prolong the effect, meaning he's gonna be around for a while. Like maybe it's kind of a busy trash day, so he has a few more places to go, and the back of his cart might be a bit more fluffy, as it were.
I mean, it's still trash. It's not gonna be comfortable to land on.
But it's a bit more, and it's not necessarily solid wood. It might be a mixture of other things. But if anything, it's going to be more things to hide yourself inside of.
Oh, hitting the deck of an empty cart would be bad.
Oh, you're dead.
So from there, I'm gonna have you then take the risk to then leap onto his cart. Now this risk will be in twofold. All right. If you're able to make a hit, like completely succeed, a great success, then it's a great success. You're on the cart, you're hidden, everything's good. If you succeed, but it's not a great success, you're witnessed doing it. By who? We'll see.
Yeah.
And if you miss, you miss. You're gonna have to face danger. So.
Go and splat on the concrete.
Exactly. So for this one, definitely take the story tag of Henry the Garbage Man. The crowd does not play any part in this, and then whatever other 3 tags you want, and then let me take a look here. Yeah, I don't think any of your weakness tags really play a part here, so if anything, you're gonna make yourself even more wet and smelly by doing this.
Yeah. Only tags that would the garbage tags apply? I know that's a stretch.
Not so much. This is more accuracy from a great height.
It's like peeing from the 2nd story balcony.
And into a coffee cup?
Into a shot glass.
Only other one I can really see would be I Know Kung Fu.
Sure,
be
to
able
land on your
to-
feet or land without hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Okay. Take the risk.
That's correct, yep. Awesome.
Bam. Do a little somersault pirouette and just literally Assassin's Creed style. Just land
Swan
right
dive.
in the hay.
Mm-hmm. So you jump off and you find like you land in the right part, kind of towards the middle where it's more produce and refuge, not necessarily hard lumber or anything like that. You land with a thud, and Henry kind of turns around for a moment, looks to see if he like hit a rock or something with his cart, kind of looks underneath, doesn't seem to notice anything, goes over to the next bin, picks it up, just dumps the trash on top of you, but you are hidden in his cart and kind of make your way outside of the area. And
What level status would that be for hidden?
it's enough hidden that you can make it out of the area without being seen. No one's going to come
Okay.
and check the garbage cart.
Yeah, basically, I plan on just waiting until he gets back to the pit, and then
Yep, perfect. So
I'm gonna take a little nap while I'm there.
kind of take a nap within the garbage. Every once in a while, you kind of have to move some things off your nose to be able to get some fresh air. Can't have
Yeah,
too
some
much
stuff
of that
dripping
carbon.
down on my face.
Yeah, you're definitely even more wet and smelly mess than you tend to be. So as
Doesn't he have a story tag about that? Doesn't he have to add?
he has a weakness
Status
tag.
effect?
Yeah, it's a weakness.
Add more status to that.
If anything, it might come to play a bit more now. But as the day kind of comes to an end, Mike, eventually you can hear him making his way kind of into the pit. You start to hear that roar of the fire and the familiar sounds of the area. Levi, you're able to make your way kind of through the residential area, eventually getting back to where you had left your previous clothes, and then if you want to change back into them or not, that's up to you, but you're able to find all your previous belongings. And William, you're wrapping up the day, and as you're kind of cleaning up and tidying the room, you notice that the desk that Jathar is sitting at seems to have some marks on it. And getting a bit closer, you can see where it looks like someone is taking something sharp and started to kind of sketch out some kind of character, but it's not quite complete there. But it looks like, has the round face, fairly long kind of limbs, but not a lot of details beyond that.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. It'll stay there. I'm curious to see what it's gonna be.
All right. So with that, the night comes to par. William, it's been a little while since you have seen your boys.
Yeah.
Would you be heading to the pit to reconvene to catch up?
Yeah, because I assume they've, figured something out and done something useful and not gotten in trouble in any kind of way.
So, as you arrive, you see Mike sitting, standing, whatever he's doing, but he has like a banana peel sticking out of his side pocket. There's all types of like old coffee stains all over him. There's dirt. His face is just caked in stuff. You're not quite sure what. He looks like a hot mess.
Oh, so normal.
No, a lot more dirty than normal. Like,
Yeah, a lot.
All right. Looks like you had fun.
It was a good day.
Where's the kid?
Good question.
Not sure. I gave him some drugs and then left him, so we'll see.
Not worried. Got it. Yep.
So, Levi, as the night begins to get dark, you sit there, you have the stash of opium, these fancy new clothes, and a bit of time to again reflect on the day. Would you also make your way towards the pit, or would you find something else to do for the night?
I'll make my way to the pit.
And guess what I hear, boys?
An echo?
Nope. I hear a choo-choo.
Oh no. I'm waiting until I hear.
I need to actually go and find that sheet.
Oh boy! Chris gets to roll on the sheet.
All right, so for everyone watching the video, what's going on right now is I have the unfortunate living arrangement to be near a train track. We seem to have at least one train that passes by our game every time we play. And so to make this a bit of fun, I have come up with 30 random situations that can occur in this session. And so every time we hear the train, we're going to roll on it. So, yeah, Levi, go ahead and give us a D30/R1D30 roll.
I don't think I did that right. Oh, there it is.
50.
So Levi, as you're making your way to the pit, you start to notice that there appears to be a trail of like bread, crumpets, cookies, all leading towards an alley. And they look fairly fresh. Like, they don't look rotted, they don't look wet and soggy. They seem edible. A few of them, it almost seems like a scent is coming from them.
It's the first train incident, and I'll follow the trails.
Okay. You follow it towards the edge of the corner, and you see that this trail of cookies and breads and treats all kind of lead towards the far dark corner of the alley.
I'll keep following them.
Okay. So you keep following and following. You notice that the treats seem to get fresher, smell a bit better as you get closer to the corner of this alley. But once you're about maybe 20, 30 feet away, you start to hear a noise. It sounds like a high-pitched kind of squeaking, a rattling of metal, scratching at metal. But there's definitely a sound coming from the area these treats are leading to.
I'm gonna go investigate that sound.
So as you get a bit closer, your eyes kind of focus to the dark, and in the corner you see there's a very crude kind of cage trap, and inside sits a fairly sizable rat. The rat is just panicking, trying to get out.
Well, release the poor thing.
So as you lean down to release the gate, you hear a small voice behind you. "Hey, mister, that there is our rat. You best leave him alone."
I'm gonna turn around to see who's speaking to me.
There's 3 small children, probably aged between 6 and 9 years old. 2 of them have long, kind of pointy sticks. The other one has like a rusty, kind of looks like broken off piece of metal. They're all standing there kind of looking at you. That there's our rat. We trapped it. You best leave it there.
What are a bunch of kids like you doing trapping rats back here?
It's for our funnies.
And you find that funny? This poor animal.
Hey, I've seen you around before. You play that guitar down at the corner. You don't think it'd be funny to throw this rat into the window of one of those the big lovers and see them screaming with the lady folk, and they have their funny hairs and they run out? It's so funny. The rat goes in there, breaks everything. It's so funny.
You kids sure have an awful strange sense of humor.
What do you know? You're old.
Old enough to know better.
It's not gonna harm anybody. It's just for funs. It just makes us laugh. You know, there's not much stuff to do. Plus, we got these treats. It's our rat. You just leave it alone. You get out of here.
Get a job, you damn hippie.
You go have fun throwing your rat around places. I'm gonna go.
Leave. So as you no, go ahead.
And then I exit. That's all I was saying.
So as you leave, you hear the kids kind of go over and start talking to each other, planning their pranks and all that jazz. And with that, you successfully navigate our first train adventure.
Wow. You've done it.
So
you need like a Batman newspaper thing for the train events.
I doubt that's the far-reaching consequences in this situation. So
no,
good job.
It's pretty tame. So after a little while, Levi arrives, and the three of you are now in the pit. Yeah, why don't you fill in William on the day's events?
Yeah, boys, what happened? Where's our information? What'd you get?
Well, guess what? We almost got arrested again. Well, not again for me, but we almost got arrested.
Maybe.
All right.
A little bit.
You're not allowed to go out by yourself anymore.
I wasn't by myself. I had Mike with me.
You're not allowed to go out by yourself anymore.
I mean, at least I thought I had Mike with me. It didn't really seem like he was there.
No, I was there. I was over your shoulder. You didn't notice me.
Well, what did you get besides in trouble?
I'll point to his pocket.
Well, we still have this cigar box from the house. And we were trying to contact that Dominic guy, and the barista was asking about some sort of box. He was gesturing for something maybe about the size of a matchbox or something.
The one in the desk. Yeah. Did you not take that, Mike?
I'll start looking through my pockets.
No, you left that behind.
The banana peel hits the floor.
Some coffee grounds.
Well, yeah, that probably would have been helpful.
Seems to be that way.
So, well, is that all you got? Was, I assume, chased out?
It wasn't chased.
I mean, I wasn't really being chased. I was pretty in the clear.
So I assume chased out, yeah. And no information. Don't even know what the guy looks like. You know where he's at. Nothing.
Well, we know the barista that seemed to know what we were trying to talk about.
And then reported us to the cops.
I don't know if he reported us. I think he was just a little suspicious of our box.
Yeah, you did. I'm assuming you weren't subtle. What, did you just shove it on the counter?
I didn't particularly just open it up and flail around a bag of opium either.
Well, I guess there's that.
You also
Well.
would remember what the inspector looks like since he was the one chasing after you.
Fair enough. Would we have happened to catch his name from the badge? Oh, Mike saw the badge, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's Inspector Pascal Vaillant. The one and only.
He's not there when you need him, and when you need him, he's chasing you down an alley.
well. That was a big goose egg. Congratulations, boys.
It's fine. I can go back in my normal attire. And, now that I know what's going on, I can try again. I doubt he'll.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
remember.
You think he will tell you anything after watching you be arrested?
Well, first of all, I didn't get arrested. Second of all, if I come back appearing different, he may not recognize me.
You really think a drug dealer's not going to recognize somebody the second time?
We don't even know if he was the dealer. He just seemed to know what we were talking about.
Fine. Oh, I can't stop yawning.
I don't see you giving any better ideas than going back there dressed differently.
I don't have any better ideas.
Well, then I guess that's what I'm gonna do.
Well, then let's go.
So you would remember that the coffee shop is closed tonight, but you still have the gardens, the Broadview Gardens in downtown. Or you can say wait till the weekend where you all have some time off and then go back to the coffee shop at that point, giving a couple days for things to cool down and allowing you some more daytime. What
that
are
would
your
be
thoughts?
I'd be fine waiting it over a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That way he's less likely to recognize you because I'm not going in. He's gonna recognize me.
Yeah, the 300-pound man.
The 300-pound man, baby, yes.
We'll just make sure and rough you up so you don't look quite the same.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, Mike, you're not touching me.
Yeah, Mike, you need a bath.
I plan on it.
That's not what my reservations were of Mike touching me, but okay.
I mean, you need to, like, burn your clothes. And...
These are still good. Wait, there's like barely 6 holes in it.
burn them all. And then the weekend. Yay, weekends.
Awesome. So with the scene ending, it kind of fade off at the 4 of you, including Frederic, sitting at the pit, kind of the fireplace, burning in the corner, all making your plans, and we fade into our montage. So actually, I wanted to pull up something here.
It's a montage.
So we got Mike, Levi, and William. Did I put? I did. Okay.
Montage.
Okay. So as we do montage, I think I might actually ask you guys a few questions to get to know your character as well. So we'll go down the list here. So William, for the days that you have to leave, day off work, who is your go-to substitute?
That's Janice. She's the stand-in substitute for everybody. She's the secretary for the dean. Or dean. No, Janice McElroy.
Okay.
She's been there probably, I don't know, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's about 60 years old, 60, 70. And She knows most of the subjects. She usually just gives tests like any substitute. If I can spell.
All right, let's go with a more difficult one. Since your awakening, have you ever been tempted to drink Jillian's blood?
Oh, multiple times.
How does that go down?
I just usually go out and about and find somebody. You know, I go to the gym and then go out from there and find somebody to make myself feel better. But it's come close a few times, you know.
All right, and so what will you be spending the next couple days doing?
You know, hold on, let me find it. Probably just going over all the notes and everything that we have. I'll be talking with Frederick and going over everything.
Okay. So you're basically studying the details, the case files, all the information you have on Hans and everything like that. So you'll be working the case. You gain 3 clues. So we'll say the method is just, further study of current clues. And source will be based off of current locations, people you've spoken to, all of that. There might be a possibility that maybe you're able to reference new information based off of conversations you've had before by noticing things that you may not have seen. So yeah, 3 questions you can then ask about any of the existing locations or people.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions you have currently? You can definitely feel free to ask those as we continue to investigate too.
Yeah, none right now.
Okay.
I'll save them a little bit.
Perfect. All right. And so for Mike, let's see.
Mike needs to spend his next couple days bathing.
How's that new park of yours coming along?
It's actually sprung up quite well. To the point where I don't really need to manage it quite so much. The flowers and trees have really kind of taken hold, and they don't need quite so much care.
And are you working on any other projects at the moment?
Yeah, it frees up some time for my current project that is directly after work. I'm heading back into the blue-collar district, specifically that park, like just in that area, but not at the actual park, like around it, so that way those constables that were there are not going to see me. But I'm starting to do a lot of plantings in the vicinity.
Okay.
And making sure to talk with a lot of the locals, specifically after work and after I've taken a bath, so I'm not quite so bad.
Is there a specific thing you're trying to get answers to?
No, I'm not looking for answers. It's more...
Just making yourself known?
Yeah.
Okay.
Getting to know some people in the area and asking how their day is while I'm gardening, and asking if there's any particular plants they enjoy looking at. And then proceeding to plant them.
Well, I definitely say that sounds like you're giving attention to your logos. So go ahead and take attention on that.
Attention on there.
How are things with Wendy?
They're going great. She's been loving going into a nicer area of town and doing more planting.
Mm-hmm.
She's mostly the reason why people stop to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the one that does more of the talking. She doesn't really care for them.
What's her favorite flower or plant?
Orchids.
Orchids. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And are those difficult for this location and environment to plant, kind of keep alive?
I mean, overall, they're pretty difficult to keep alive. They need quite a bit of care, but since we're coming back often, they're actually starting to do quite well in this area. The ones over in the slums they're not doing so good, but
Okay. Awesome.
there's plenty of other hardier plants that are over there.
All right. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. All right, Levi.
Yes.
Tell me about your sister.
Did I say I had one?
Mm-hmm.
You do now,
You
boy.
said you had one and she left a long time before you did.
Well, I should probably add that to my notes.
You forgot he had a sister.
That might be okay.
How dare you?
Because it sounded like you may not have been around her all that much before she ran away or left as well.
Well, her name's Rosemary. People just called her Rose, though. No one really, she never really told people her full name. And, she does, wait, what, would special ed teaching be a thing around this time?
No, unfortunately not.
Alright, that's what I was gonna go for.
They would have like a ward in the hospital, so she could be like a nurse or something like that.
That's where they get electroshocks and
Mm-hmm.
lobotomies and the like.
What are some occupations that would involve a lot of traveling?
She's a stewardess. She rides the buses everywhere.
So leaving the city is not really. People don't really leave the city. The city's kind of the only thing they need. There's people that come to the city and leave. So do you mean traveling within the city itself, or traveling like outside?
I was aiming for more broad, but within the city, where it's just anything that would be like keeping her away from home, because that's what I'm going for here. Like she just wasn't around.
I mean, honestly, probably like an au pair or a nanny position would at least get her living in another family's home, and not really going to be something that people publicly say, this is so and so, she lives here. So that would be one way for her to get out of there. Beyond that, I mean, there's work to be done on the rail yards. There's work to be done on the river, both steamboats and, ships that are kind of traveling up and down, supplying the different ports along the city. There are, again, for a woman, it would be rare, but there would probably be some that are like wagon operators. So basically taxis, whether they are she does like a private kind of wagon or more public stuff that would get her around the city. Maids, there's quite a bit of that work as well.
I guess nanny kind of works for what I was getting at before.
And how much older was she
I'm trying to, let's see. How old is my character now? Okay, that. Mid-30s as of right now.
And before she left, how was your relationship with her?
She wasn't really home much, but it was always nice to see her around because I was sick of my parents.
All right. And what will you be spending the next couple days doing?
The usual, walking around the streets and playing guitar for those around to listen.
Okay. Let's see. I'm taking a look at your page real quick. So yeah, it sounds like you're probably giving attention to then your street concert logos, I would say.
Sure.
Perfect. So it's Saturday morning. Throughout this week, at some point, you all made a decision of where you're going to be and what time you're going to be there. So where is that and what time is it? Are you going back to the coffee shop or are you going to the Broadview Gardens?
We should send Mike to the gardens. Seeing how he can't be seen to the coffee shop again. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, that was basically the plan. And then you guys were gonna meet up after.
Yeah, and I'll go with Will to the coffee shop.
Okay.
We gonna get lattes.
I was gonna get just a mocha.
Fuck you.
I mean, it is called the Cocoa Gate for a reason. I got some tasty cocoa.
No.
I'll get a malt.
There you go. All right. So I would say, William and Levi, you guys kind of get back to the Cocoa Gate. About what time are you guys arriving there?
About 9:30.
Okay. It is a hoppin' place. There are a lot of people in the square. By this time, there's already families out kind of playing in the park, playing in the fountain. There's a lot of shoppers all around. You notice that it's so busy they actually have a second barista behind the counter kind of helping to fill orders. There's currently about a line of about 10 people, and almost every seat is taken all around. A few people have kind of had to sit up against the side of the wall, or have just taken their drinks to go find seats around the fountains and the other various benches throughout this square.
Nobody's gonna recognize me, are they?
You have never been here.
Well, I mean, because it's near the blue collar district, isn't it, where I teach?
It's possible there might be some parents that recognize you. I mean, you've been at that school for a while and you see a lot of kids. So, and I don't know, are parent-teacher conferences really a thing in this day and age at your school?
Not really.
Yeah, so I mean, it's possible that a kid or a parent might recognize you, but it's hard to say right now with just the size of the crowd. So we're gonna actually introduce a story tag of sizable crowd into this scene.
Let's put it on this one. Story tag. There we go. Yeah, because I can't spell. I'm really glad people can't see that.
So yeah, I would say you guys probably stop far enough to at least kind of get a view of the entire scene. So, Levi, you're in your different clothes now. What's the plan?
Yes.
Well, certainly not taking out the box again. We'll leave that.
Did you even bring that with you?
Yeah, why do you have that still?
I don't know. Do I even have it?
I don't know. Do
No,
you?
I don't have. I don't have the coat that I had it in because I didn't have a coat to begin with, and in my other clothes.
Yeah, you left it in your hideaway. That makes sense.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna see. Is anybody in this crowd smoking?
Yes,
Probably a lot of them.
quite a few. Yeah, cigars, cigarettes.
Smoking's good for you.
Pipes. There's a lot of smoking.
Can I go up to someone and ask for a matchbox?
Sure. Let's change the game. What tags are you going to use to kind of convince someone to give you their matchbox instead of just a match?
Persuade the thoughts
Okay.
of others.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say that for this, the sizable crowd is actually going to work to your benefit. So go ahead and add that as well.
Just the plus on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
What is it? Just a...
Guess I could maybe use ambition.
sure. Yep.
Aside from that, none of this really helps me in any way.
Okay.
Well, here, you'll need something to light. And I'll give you a cigar. On
You
your
just
way
happen
now.
to have a cigar on you?
I smoke, yeah. Why would I not?
And a good old change the game.
Indeed.
And... Hey.
Well,
So you still get
That's
2
not-
juice, so you can create your story tag to get yourself a match box. And
20.
then, yeah, there's no current power tags to be burnt. I don't think you could really burn the story tag. Actually, I would say because of the size of the crowd, you could burn the you could reduce that under suspicion status.
you only ever had me put it to 1.
Yep. So you would just reduce it by 1, and it would not be there anymore.
Oh, okay then. So, wait, should I have put 1 for sizable crowd?
I did.
Yes.
Or would
Yes.
clicking the plus have been enough on its own?
Clicking the plus
Clicking the plus would have.
would have been it. You can see it's highlighted like in bold on there.
I think he means, like... Because you can... Click...
So, like, I
the
clicked
card.
the plus, but I didn't have any number selected on the bar. Does that mean it didn't do anything?
No,
If
it
you
did.
click the-
If you look to the actual chat, you'll see you have your ambition, your persuade thoughts, and then your sizable crowd. And then if you hover over, you have 2d6 plus 2.
Which
so it
is for
should-
persuade the thoughts and the ambition. He didn't put a 1 on the story tag, and so it didn't count for anything. So that's technically...
I
a
mean,
10.
a 10 would have been the same thing.
Well, it would allow you to scale up the effect, hide the effect. I'll say
I'll
this.
say-
It's not. You're able to get a matchbox, but it's actually a Cocoa Gate matchbox. So we'll say for your 10, you can reduce the status by 1 because you're kind of blending into the crowd, so you're no longer under suspicion. You get a Cocoa Gate matchbox.
Okay, and I'll keep in mind that for story tags, I gotta put a 1 on them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either, so...
We probably failed a bunch of rolls we didn't need to.
Most of
That's
the
why-
time, the story tags have not been actually going for you; they've been going against you. So, you might actually have saved yourself a few rolls.
Cheaters.
All right. So, William, as he's kind of going around the crowd looking for a matchbox, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go in and buy a drink.
Okay, so you're gonna go hop in line and wait to get in. I would
Right.
say probably by the time he gets the matchbox, you're probably third in line. So Levi kind of reapproaches you. There's some murmurs behind you about him cutting in line, but cutting isn't really
My
a
boy!
thing in this day and time. Exactly. Hello, good day, gentlemen. What can I get hot and started for you right away?
God, I'm choking on my Nutter Butters. Oh,
Excuse me?
sorry, I was eating cookies.
We got a
Can't
line
help
here,
it.
fellas.
yeah.
What can I get started for you?
I'm gonna.
Just want a
Well,
black
I'll
coffee.
I'll get a mocha, but I'm also gonna put the I guess kind of flash the matchbox and be like, maybe you can help us find something.
So the individual you're speaking to now is not the barista; it's the owner that you had spoken to.
Oh,
before.
okay. So then, wait. So we're not actually up to the.
So
We are.
you're-
That's just.
You're ordering your drinks, and the barista would be the guy making your drink. One of two. There's two baristas back there. So you have the owner actually ordering up the drinks and taking the money, and then the two baristas making the drink.
Do you recognize either of them?
It's possible that one of these individuals might have been the one that you spoke to the last time you were here.
Levi,
Sorry, what?
do you recognize either of those men?
Well, yeah, I spoke directly to the barista, so he's one of the two, and I can kind of make him out by his hair being widely different color than the others.
Well, then that's the one you'll have to talk to.
I'm contemplating how to go about that part.
And for you, sir, anything for you to drink, or was it just for your lad?
I'll take a coffee.
Very good. That'll be a certain amount of money. Exchange rates.
Here's-
The boys are a bit backed up, so feel free to just mill about, and they'll call out your drinks once they're ready.
And now, sir, before I disappear, and I hate to clog up the line here, but my boy here left his jacket last time he was here, last week sometime.
I
Would there
see.
be anybody here who might have seen it? Might have been working at that point, maybe seen it, put it behind the counter or something?
It's quite possible. Jameson, do you remember seeing a jacket left behind at any point last week? Anything like that? You see one of the baristas kind of making the drink look over. I don't know, to be honest. When we do clean up, anything we get, we take down to the shelter down the street. I'm sorry. Yeah, we do tend to donate a lot of the clothing that's left behind for the homeless and all that. It's possible you might be able to head down there. I believe that's St. John's homeless shelter, kind of down the street a little bit. They might have it there. I do apologize for that if that's the case.
I'm new to this district. Would you be able to show me the way?
Oh, well, I couldn't do that quite now. It's quite easy to see. Just head down the street here, go to the other side of the square, take a left. It's the large church kind of on the end of the street. You should be able to at least see the steeple and the large bell.
Well, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, of course, your drinks will be up shortly.
All right, I'm going to go sit down.
It's a bit hard to find a seat. You're able to find one a bit outside. You kind of have to squeeze your way through a bunch, but you're able to pull one of the round tables and sit down. While he's doing that, Levi, are you doing anything while your drinks are being made?
Yeah, just staying close to him so I don't lose him in the crowd.
Okay, so you guys kind of head over to your table. Mike, you arrive in the gardens. It's about 9:30 in the morning. This park is beautiful, and I mean, for your eye, it is quite beautiful. It's in downtown. It has many trees, bushes, flowers. It has tons of different paths and a canal that runs through the middle, straight to the river. There's 2 bridges that connect either side of the park. During the day, it's full of families having picnics. There's a few constables that are patrolling around. There's a few caretakers and gardeners that are, trimming the bushes and making sure everything's clean and orderly. Every once in a while, you'll see some businessmen kind of patrolling through from work, grabbing some food from some of the street vendors that are around here. There's women taking tea breaks, and it's pretty popular during the day. You notice that there's a few, it's definitely starting to pick up. But once you arrived, what would you like to do?
I actually kind of had a secondary motive for being here without the guys at the moment. I planned on taking Wendy out here for kind of just a relaxing stroll through the park.
Okay.
A little date, quick in the morning.
Awesome. So yeah, you both arrive by trolley, or whatever the case might be. She kind of looks around. I don't believe I've ever been here before. This is, wow, it seems to go on for so far. The size of the park is pretty close to Central Park, kind of downtown. It's a big park. And just like Central Park in the middle of the city, it seems very strange that these many trees and everything could be here.
Well, just kind of take her hand and start walking down the path.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just calm and peaceful. You know, you don't have that dense smell of the city. You know, it's fresh, it's clean. There's ducks and geese that kind of are swimming along the canal, a few resting on the banks on either side. You hear children kind of laughing and playing tag off into the green parts of it. You know, a few women are sitting and gossiping on a bench. Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't seem to be bothered and are one of probably many couples kind of just walking around the park.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of having her here.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to kind of look around without being noticed.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Just kind of more looking around for anything suspicious that might, because I know the barista's not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of taking note of who is where and who they're with.
Okay. Go ahead and investigate the park.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually going to say, because it works, as you begin to kind of scan the crowd, you start to notice the brown leaves, the darkened petals of some of the flowers, the dried roots of some of the trees. So I'm going to say your weakness tag, care of sick plants, comes to play here.
Care for those sick plants. Do it.
The only two that I can think of that are going to work would be maybe bullet time, and then quick care, and growth of plants. I'm not sure if I can get a buff from Wendy being there as well, but...
Definitely, I would say go ahead and add her as a story tag. I don't know if she's going to necessarily be able to help you with this role.
This particular one.
Yeah, it's not really something she can actively do. She's just a grocer, you know. It's she's just here for the views and for the large, not as stinky man.
Ugh. Well, yeah, I mean, I made sure to clean up pretty good.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
The dried banana peels blend in with the banana trees.
No banana peels here.
He took a bath.
Yeah, but did he take his clothes off?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, these are my good clothes.
You have those?
Yeah.
He makes money. It's not a lot of money, but I mean, it's enough, and he's by himself. He doesn't have any family to take care of. He has enough for some every once in a while clothing.
I mean, I make money like that too. I have enough for once in a while clothing.
True.
I don't make money for that, but the school provides nice clothing for me.
Ooh,
Hey.
very nice.
Yeah.
Take that, plants.
Great success.
Yeah, what? So you're looking for anything strange? Do you want to be more specific about your question about what you're looking for?
Well, so if this is where anybody's going to be doing any kind of dealings, there's going to be someone that is not with somebody else. There's going to be just like some guy sitting on a bench, you know, feeding birds or something. He's going to be alone, not with somebody. It's
Okay,
gonna
well,
stand out.
it's not a guy.
Anybody that's here is going to be with somebody.
It's not a guy. It's a woman. She's wearing a large kind of round gray hat with a feather in it, and she looks to be probably late 60s, early 70s. You know, kind of disheveled white hair sticking out beneath. She has a bag of breads and you know, kind of bird seed that she is just throwing onto the rock. Anytime anyone kind of gets near, she seems to just watch them walk by, kind of give them a small smile, and then go back to the birds and just continue to feed them. A few of the birds actually land on her leg, on her shoulder, and she just hand feeds them. It's a mixture of birds, pigeons. There's actually a few crows in there as well, a few, you know, songbirds. It's a variety of birds that seem to arrive. Do you have any other questions?
I'd probably want to take a close look at some of the workers.
Okay. You see two currently. There's a caretaker that's currently in the process of cutting kind of old vines off of one of the street lamps. It looks like vines kind of grew down from one of the trees and wrapped itself around the street lamp, and now they're kind of brown and dried off. He's up there with like a small saw trying to cut them off. And then there's a street vendor with chestnuts. He's standing there. He's got a white apron on. A few people kind of come by, but he's kind of at the entrance of the park, so quite a few people kind of go past his cart.
Okay.
All right, so while you think about that stuff, let's hop back to the coffee shop. As you both hear your drinks called out, a mocha and a latte. It does seem, as you get up, Levi, the one that is putting your drinks out on the counter is not, whatever his name, Jameson. It seems to be this new barista.
Okay, then.
Yes.
Well,
What's your plan now, smart ass?
give me a minute. We're at like 30 seconds. I'm gonna ask if I can like borrow Jameson for like 1 second.
Who are you asking?
The barista right in front of me.
Yeah, I guess Jameson. These folks need to talk to you about something. You know, Jameson's kind of in the middle of a drink. He pours out the drink real quick and says, you know, it's a blah-de-blah double espresso, whatever. It has the other guy kind of take over to start making. He comes over. Yeah, gentlemen, what can I do for you?
I flash the matchbox out of my hand and ask if he can maybe help us with something.
Kind of looks down at it, looks at you. Have I seen you before?
No, not really. I haven't been to this area before.
Oh, all right. Yeah, make it quick. What can I do for you?
Hold on, let me get my notes. Is there something you can tell us about a Dominic?
Why do you need to know?
He's in some way linked to a disappearance.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I can help you with anything. I got some orders to fill back here.
All right.
William, as he's asking these questions, are you doing anything?
Just getting my drink and watching this stupid interaction. Sipping my coffee judgmentally.
Why don't you fucking say something then, Faz?
Because I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna wait until he gets off work. Why would you confront him in the middle of a workday with all these people? I'm gonna wait till he's leaving.
Okay, so you get your drink and you go and you sit down at the table.
I'm just keep an eye on him the whole time.
Okay. Levi, is there anything you do as William kind of leaves your side and he kind of just looks at you, and the Jameson kind of looks at you and just walks away to keep filling orders?
You mentioned there was like a balcony area right outside somewhat, or porch, something like that. I'm gonna go out there and start playing guitar.
Okay, so you head out into the square and start playing guitar, watching the crowd. I take it you're both kind of watching the crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have you both actually roll to investigate the crowd in the coffee shop individually, since you both kind of have your own perspectives.
Yay, straight up rolls.
That's how I'm feeling with this. I don't, unless I can use ambition.
Way! I got a 9.
Okay. So you do get at least one question to ask. So what do you want to know about the coffee shop or the crowd based off of just watching them? And Phazon, you don't have Roll20 up, is that correct?
No, I do. Why?
Oh, I was just going to say, if you guys want to take any of these notes or clues and write them down on the cards, that's still available.
I'll say Qued's the one that left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I got windows in
I've got my own notes.
Okay. So yeah, William, as you're kind of watching the crowd, you see quite a few people coming. As it starts to get mid-afternoon, you see for the most part, it's slowing down. There's, a few families still coming in to get their kids hot chocolate. The other barista actually ends up packing up, leaving probably around noon. And it's just the owner and Jameson as the place begins to close around 2:30, 3 o'clock.
That's okay. I didn't get to ask my question, but
Well, you do. I'm just telling. That's what's happening.
can I use those other story clues as well
For
asking questions? Or does
the,
that have to
I
be-
would say the crowd. Well, it depends on what exactly you're looking for. If you're looking
Okay,
for
well,
a
we'll just
specific
go with the
person, the
one for
crowd's
now.
actually going to make it more difficult for you. It's not going to be a bonus.
No, I just kind of want to. If I'm looking at the crowd, I just want to see if anybody besides me and Levi are just hanging around, like the whole
Okay.
time.
Yes. 2 individuals. There's one gentleman who you see walk by probably about once an hour. It seems he might be doing a large lap kind of around the square. but he's about 5'6", 5'7", has a dark brown mustache, a fedora, and from how they described him, you would assume this to be the inspector. The other individual, you notice he's sitting kind of in the actual cafe. He has kind of a corner desk or a corner table kind of at the very back, and he definitely seems to be watching everyone that comes in, and then looking up to the counter, and then again watching everyone come in. He looks like he's maybe 19. He has dark hair kind of slicked back, dark eyes, kind of tan skin. He's wearing a gray shirt with a dark blue vest over it, and you can see some, polished shin-high boots sticking out over it, and there's a satchel that seems to be hanging over the edge of his chair. His eyes definitely seem to be darting around at every person that comes in. And a few times it does seem like he looks towards your direction and almost makes eye contact with you every once in a while.
All right.
So Phazon, you should be able to go to your text icon, or the little eye, and then do text, and then just drag text across it. So that's just an image, and then you just put text on top of it.
Oh, okay.
You're being
so
too high class on us here.
Yeah, you're getting fancy now.
Yeah, so Levi, let's go ahead and have you investigate the crowd as well, as you're playing music.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of tags I can use other than maybe ambition.
Sure.
Well, that's about it. Investigate.
Wow.
Okay, so you get a question as well.
Only I can spell. No? Yes, that's what I wanted. Boop, boop.
Alright,
Yes.
I'm trying to, alright.
Water?
I'm drawing a blank right now, I have no clue.
Okay, so we'll say that you kind of saw the same things that he did, but as we continue on, if you have a question that would be able to be answered from your study of the crowd throughout the past couple hours, we'll definitely ask it then. So it's a...
Okay.
Oh, sorry?
I just said okay, sorry.
So as the shop begins to close down, you see the owner go over, kind of take the money out of the register, put it into a briefcase, and then lock the briefcase, kind of give a wave to Jameson, and he exits. Only Jameson and the other gentlemen are still in the coffee shop. There's still a decent crowd. It's still afternoon, so there's still some people kind of outside. Every once in a while, someone will try to come in over the past couple minutes, and Jameson will just kind of wave them off, say sorry, we're closed. At about 3 o'clock, the kid in the corner kind of stands up, takes the satchel, puts it over his corner, looks over at Jameson, and kind of walks to the edge of the store and begins to kind of look over the crowd before he leaves.
So I guess I'm not still in the shop then.
You were sitting right outside, you were sitting right outside the from where the entrance is. So you see the kid kind of approach the outside of the large kind of white doors that are both open, and kind of begin looking over the crowds. Kind of looks down at you and then back over the crowd. What do you want to do, William?
I'm not too worried about him. I'm waiting for the other guy.
You start... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I can wait.
So yeah, Levi, you're back there playing music. You see that for the most part, the coffee shop is beginning to close, you've noticed the inspector kind of pass by a few times, but now that the coffee shop is starting to close, you notice the inspector is kind of taking a permanent position by a lamppost, not too far away from the entrance.
I'm gonna go up and talk to him.
Okay. As you begin to approach, he kind of looks over to you. Yeah, what is it?
I believe you're an inspector I was looking for the other day, a Pasco Vion.
Indeed. He keeps kind of looking past you, scanning the crowd. You see him actually looking down at William a few times. What is it? What is it you need, son? As you get closer, you actually notice that his chin has a pretty nasty bruise underneath it, kind of like where his face would have hit cobblestone.
Oh yeah, from that.
Cannonball.
Let's see. Not we. There was a letter that had some sort of inquiry about a Bexley family and a missing kid named Hans, and I had been informed to go see a Pasco Vion, and that's you.
Yeah, indeed it is. I'm sorry, I'm kind of on the case at the moment. What can I do to help you?
I was just I was wondering if I could get some information on the whole situation here, like what you may know about the kidnapping, or disappearance rather, considering I was told to go to you. That must mean you know something that would be important.
So as you kind of start asking for specific details, you see his dark eyes kind of focus on you, and he looks you up and down, kind of at your clothing. And who are you exactly?
Just some pretty much homeless kid. No one cares for our names anyways.
I see. All right. Well, I'm not sure exactly what you can do to help. So if you don't mind, I just need to focus here.
Well, I mean, perhaps I could help you if I knew more about this situation.
So he kind of turns to you and kind of leans over, even though he's almost a little bit shorter than you, but he kind of leans down as he would, and he's just like, look, I don't know who you are. I appreciate you, I guess, wanting to help, but I have this under control. I'm not sure how you got my name, who gave you my name, but just do me a favor. Leave me alone. I got work to do.
All right then. Back off and say, mutter under my breath, I guess you don't care about the well-being of others.
He kind of just snorts in your direction and goes back, trying to re-catch up every single person that's walked by. So now he's panicking to look back at everyone. William, you see Jameson kind of turning off all of the pumps and steam pumps and all that in there. He goes and grabs one of the doors, kind of closes it behind him. He watches as the kid kind of walks away with his satchel. The rest of the crowd begins to kind of disperse around, and he goes, kind of looks down. Well, we're locking up for the night. You're more than welcome to stay here. Just so you know that the constables do try to clear this area out once it gets too late, but you probably have a few hours before then. And goes, closes the door and locks it. Have a good night. Begins to walk away.
I'm just gonna wave and sit there, and then once he disappears into the back of the shop, I'm gonna go around the shop.
Okay. He kind of walks out and goes towards a corner and just kind of joins the group of people, that are walking down the side, kind of towards where the wall of the gated community is, that street that kind of goes by that wall. Similar to the street that goes to the alley where you guys had been. He begins kind of walking in that direction.
It's okay, I'm gonna try and flag him down.
Okay, so you duck around the corner, kind of holler out to him. He stops, turns around. Yeah, what is it?
I have a bit of an odd question for you, sir.
Starts walking towards you, kind of adjusting his jacket a little bit. Yeah, what is it? What can I do for you?
Now, I work over at the school there in that blue-collar district, and for some reason, some of my kids have gotten a hold of something a bit less than legal, and they seem to have said somebody from this area gave it to him now. And then I tracked it down to this shop, and I wanted to know if maybe you knew something about it. I couldn't talk to your boss. He was quite busy today.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Well, it wasn't nothing too dramatic. They're just not quite old enough to purchase it, I mean, a little bit of cocaine keeps them, focused, but it's not something I really want them doing. And somebody had some kind of little box with a name on it, and it happened to be the name of the shop you work with.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if you knew anything.
About cocaine? Nah, I'm afraid you've been misinformed. Those kids might be pulling your legs, telling you jokes.
No, I know my kids. They're mostly good kids.
Mostly good kids that are buying cocaine, it seems you're saying. Indeed, they must be real great kids.
They're wonderful kids now. And they don't tend to lie to me.
I see.
They tend to be a bit intimidating.
Levi, you see William kind of go around the street. Do you follow him, or do you go elsewhere?
I'm gonna follow, not closely, follow far behind, so I'm kind of in the know, but not in the situation, so to speak.
Okay. So William, the guy kind of looks at you again. Yeah, I'm really not sure exactly why. I'm not sure what you're really talking about, but I got a place I got to get to. It's starting to get a bit late, so you have yourself a good night.
I was also given the name. Hold on, let me find the name. It's Hans Bexley. Have you heard that name?
No, can't say I have, to be honest with you. No.
And he had a friend. I think my boy tried asking you about him earlier. Oh, where are my notes?
Oh, I thought I recognized you. All right. Tell you what. How about you and your boy just leave me the fuck alone? We'll go from there. How's that sound, chap?
No, we were having a nice conversation here. I might have been a bit
where's
forward,
your badge?
but I was...
You know you have to show me. You know you do. If you're a police officer, you have to show me your badge.
I don't have a badge.
You don't have
just
a badge?
A school teacher.
Then you don't have a fucking right to ask me questions. And with that, he turns around and begins walking down the street.
And that's when I'm gonna grab him by the collar.
Okay.
I'm not done having a conversation now.
I'm gonna have you take the risk. The risk being whatever grabbing someone in the middle of the street might be, whether it's being seen, him calling out, or him fighting back.
So I'm gonna use my fancy super speed and this here strength to carry a bull, because I'm gonna stop him.
And I'm gonna say your weakness tag, aggressive behavior, comes to play here because you might hurt him a bit more than you want to.
That's okay. I'm also gonna use martial arts.
Okay.
To make sure he's not gonna squirm away from me. And then that's a take a risk.
That's correct.
It's a 9. Let's see, what's that's okay. I can live with that.
All right, I'm gonna offer you a choice. So you have the option. You can either grab him and pin him to the wall, in which he's gonna cry out, or you can shove him into an alley, in which someone in the crowd's gonna see you do that.
That's okay. I'm gonna shove him in the alley.
Okay. So you like grab him real fast and push him down the alley. You hear like a few of the women kind of gasp and whisper to themselves, but kind of keep walking back towards like where the square is. Levi, you see this happen, and then you also see the two women begin to kind of start walking towards the square, and you hear a few of them mention, "Oh my gosh, what was that? Should we find a constable? I don't know. Maybe it's none of our business. Maybe we should just go home." Kind of conversation as they pass you.
I'm just gonna regret this. I'm just gonna let them pass.
Okay. So as you push him to the alley, he kind of turns around, like stumbles over his feet a bit. Okay, seriously, man. I don't know what. I don't know anything you need to know. You need to leave me the fuck alone. All right. Walk on your way. You are going into places you don't need to go right now.
Look here, we were having a perfectly reasonable conversation, and then you started getting violent, and now I'm returning the favor.
A school teacher come and ask me questions about things they know nothing about. All right, I've had a long day at work. How about you go home, I'll go home. We'll leave things as they are.
How about you give me a few answers?
Like I
Got
said.
mighty evasive when we started talking about Dominic now.
Like I said, I don't know anything.
Really?
So.
Well, then who would?
Who would what? Who would know answers to questions? It's a pretty vague question there, Haas.
Who's selling drugs out of the shop?
Like I said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a badge. You're not a cop. You're a school teacher from who the fuck cares. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
You're gonna beat me in this
by
alley?
the law.
You're gonna do what? It is the middle of the afternoon. Honestly, what are you gonna do?
Beating you in an alley sounds fun.
Go for it. Do you not think? He kind of looks around to the people that are walking kind of on either side of the alley. Do you not think you're gonna be seen? You think I haven't been beat before? There's nothing that you can do to me that I won't get elsewhere.
I'm gonna punch him in the stomach.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I'm going to say let's take a quick break. I know, Chris, you just took one. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. And as the fist is going through the air, we'll come back and catch up with Mike and Wendy in the park.